Okay, my friends, so excited for us to get started. So let me get this rocking. Okay, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I do have a couple of different, I have two devices going so that you can kind of see what's going on in the long view as well as me kind of with you this way a little bit. So I am so excited for you to be here today. I know some of you are going to be in the recording, and then we have several people here live to kind of demonstrate and interact along the chat as well. So my name is Trina Love, a Senior Director of Pampered Chef. I'm so excited to connect with you. One of the things that I love is actually I was a teacher in a past life. I taught high school English, but now instead of grading research papers, I get to do things like this, where hopefully I'm helping you guys do really valuable things that make things a little bit easier. One of the things I've been hearing the most from not only my customers, my hosts, guests, family, friends, team, is that people are like, I'm just so busy. Or I hear the word overwhelmed, or I hear the phrase a lot on my plate a lot. Okay, so I think I'm seeing some head nods like, oh yeah. So like if that is you, I'm hoping that what you're gonna see that you might just think, oh, that's just a little kitchen gadget. You might have some things in your life that you suddenly go, this is gonna solve that problem for me and really help me make better choices, get dinner on the table faster, make healthier lunches, eat things from scratch, stay more on my nutrition plan, and all of those types of things. When I first started at Pampered Chef, it's almost 12 years ago now this summer. It's way past 11. You know, like little kids like say I'm 11 and a half. I'm like 11 and 3/4. So that just seems really exciting to have been doing this over a decade. And when I first started, I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know anything. I had a little 11-month-old baby that I knew I was going to want to cook. I was teaching at the time and coaching, and there was a lot of my life that I knew had to do with watching kids that had family time and kids that didn't. I would always say I would bet money on which kids, ate meals with their family and which ones not. And I'm not saying like everything has to be made from scratch. I talk about they just had some time to connect at the table. I like don't sit there and judge yourself if you wanted. Like I fed my kids cereal for lunch today. We came home from church and I was like, you're gonna eat a bowl of cereal because I know none of you are gonna like. You're gonna eat it fast, and then you're gonna get out of my kitchen so I can send you on your way. So this is hopefully just about being able to inform you and help you figure out if this device is for you, or if you already have it, making the use out of it. That means you already made an investment in this piece for some reason, right? Something made you go, oh, I need that. And then sometimes our little gadgets go sit in the cupboard because we're intimidated by them or we didn't know all of the things that they could do. So we're going to hopefully showcase this for you today. I have a couple teams that are going to help me out. And then I stole some blenders from a couple of my friends, my other teams that weren't able to make it today so that I could kind of monitor and go through some things. So I love that some of you guys have shared, whether you have one or not. I'm hoping that you find this valuable, even if you don't have one, and you might pick up some little tips along the way for any of the products you have. I have a lot, just need more ideas on how to use it. I have a blender, but I've never used it. I need this event bad. Mine is on the way. I'm on my raspberry jam. Oh, we're going to showcase that today. My Vitamix is at least 20 years old and it's dying. I can't wait to learn more of the PC cooking blender. Yes. And you might find, we know, obviously I'm a Pampered Chef consultant, so I believe in the features and the things that are in ours, but maybe you have a different brand cooking blender and the recipes and things that you're going to find out today are going to help you. That's great. We want to be able to offer education, resources, and help to you to be able to get meals on the table faster, okay? So we are going to get rocking and rolling a little bit. I'm going to try to keep an eye on the chat and go through some things. So you guys just let me know if there is stuff that you are trying to figure out, and I'll try to showcase a few things as we get going. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to showcase for you guys, our blender has several different settings. So I'll get you guys down here a little bit. Okay, so it's got several different settings on it. We have a smoothie setting, which if you're anything like me, when they first announced that they were coming up with a blender, I was like, great, I have a blender that I got for my wedding that I've used twice and it's just sat in there for a decade. I don't need a blender, okay? I think a lot of times when we think of blenders, we just think of smoothies. Now, this has its own setting, knowing what smoothies are needed. There's actually a smoothie attachment, which is fantastic for those of you guys that are looking for good, healthy lunches or breakfasts on the go. Okay, but there's an actual setting for it, but it does so much more in those, hopefully what we're going to be able to show you today. There's a grind setting. You're going to see us taste things like making peanut butter. There's an alternative milk setting for those of you that have different allergies or food sensitivities. This is a great way for you to be able to get some alternative resources and saving some money because you're making them at home. Okay, we're going to make some almond milk today. There's a soup setting. I'm going to make some tomato basil soup today. There's a jam setting. Sherry is going to showcase some jam. There's a heated puree setting. So I want you to think like baby foods or really fancy sauces. And then there's a sauce setting that you're going to see. I'm actually going to start out making some Alfredo using that, but like some nacho cheese sauce. There's a lot that can go on with this. Okay. So I do have multiple of these set up. And this is I've done a blender workshop, but it was like in my home. And so I just had them all set up all over the kitchen. So this virtual one is a little bit different. But we're going to kind of showcase that a little bit as we go. But the first thing I'm going to showcase for you guys, we're going to get a couple things going. And then like the soups and the sauces and things take a little bit of time to actually cook. One of the things about our blender is there are other blenders on the market that will say they're cooking blenders, but there is a little bit of a difference in that they're heating by friction. In that, you know, like when things move really fast, right, they're going to get warmer. Right, that's just science. But they're not actually cooking and looking for temperatures. And you know, there's basically a little brain inside of this that's going to be shooting things. Like jam needs to be at a certain temperature for a certain amount of time before you go into the next step. Okay. If you're like me, I was super intimidated. Like I was like, I can't do it. Anything that takes mental things. I don't even cook on the stovetop. I actually have some, I can't see it. I've got some homemade veggie broth that I'm going to showcase in a second here in our Brilliance cookware. And because of the way the Brilliance cookware goes, it can't have a boiler on it, which I need. And my middle daughter came and she's like, are there supposed to be so many bubbles? I just boiled it over because I wasn't using my handy tools because I don't pay attention to things when they're cooking. I forget about them. I get distracted. Okay. If you just said amen, sister, that's why the cooking blender is great for you, because I would love to make things from scratch. I would love to do all these things, but a lot of times I do not have the mental capacity. I do not have the time to be able to monitor. I need to be able to basically have a little cooking assistant doing the thinking and the temperature gauging and those things for me. And then it just means that, hey, lady, I need something. Okay. While I'm doing the rest of the things, whether that's cleaning the kitchen, prepping something, catching a few minutes in work, relaxing for a minute, heaven forbid we do that. Okay. You know, while we're in the middle of a meal. So we're going to showcase that a little bit. Okay. I am going to showcase the Alfredo first. And one of my favorite things to do here, I think I'm gonna get this guy going. Let me get this guy going. I wasn't sure how and where. I'm gonna change angles here a bit. Okay, so let me spotlight my other friend. Let me spotlight this guy now. Replay spotlight. Okay, so I'm gonna try to talk to you guys from here. Okay, so I've got a little friend here, and one of my favorite things to do that you're gonna see me working on today is that I love being able to do kind of like 2 for 1. So our blender cleans itself. Now, sometimes what I say by that, it doesn't like wipe itself down and dry. Okay, but if you are thinking, you know, I really would like to, you know, like butter, remember that's so sticky, or some of these sauces, or, you know, all these things that go through, it's actually got a heated wash setting that it's going to be monitoring things getting up to a certain temperature for sanitation. You just put a couple drops of soap in it and it goes to town. But I love being able to do things like what you're going to see me do right now, where I don't have to clean between prepping 2 things. So I just have a big block of Parmesan because there's Parmesan in my recipe. Okay. And I'm just going to break it down into a couple pieces so it's a little bit more manageable. Okay. In here, I'm going to refine my lid. And something else that's nice. Okay, do you hear that little noise? It's going to yell at me if my lid is not on correctly. Okay. So have you pictured like the blender explosions that are in like every I Love Lucy type of a comedy, right? This is going to help you not have that situation, because if you have the blender or if you have the lid open, okay, then it's not going to cook. It's going to stop. It's going to basically pause itself for you. But I just have our entire block of Parmesan here, and I'm going to go to my grind setting, and I'm going to let it go to 10 here for a minute. And it's going to grate all of my Parmesan. And something you're going to be able to see how powerful it is. Okay, I just hit the cancel button. That was about 20 seconds. Now I did hold my hand on the lid because I did learn that, because those little things that like the motor is working hard. And so sometimes it's happened before where it's like trying to pop, like they're trying to escape. Okay. Now this isn't grated like I would normally use with my my small micro adjustable grater. Okay. But you know, like the chemically induced powder that you probably buy, like the little containers, that's what it just created. And that was so fast. And so I'm gonna go ahead and put this on my roof fast containers because I might have the entire block of cheeses done for me, right? Okay. Let me get my little. We do have a skinny scraper specially designed for our blender as well, sized well and the right length. So if you have a blender, you might realize even just as I'm using some of these things that you need some of the accessories that go with it. Okay, and here's what I love about this. So I'm gonna make some Alfredo sauce, homemade Alfredo, which tastes so much better. You can control the ingredients. Okay, and I don't have to worry about getting all of the cheese out because the recipe calls for some of the cheese. So I don't have to clean this. And I sure as heck am going to want to be putting that on my pasta or using it later, or there will be more that we will be adding to the recipe. Okay. So there's that. There are measuring markers on the sides of the blender as well. So like right now, my recipe, and if you're wondering, Trina, where are you getting these recipes? All of our appliances come with a cooking guide. Okay, so if you're intimidated or you're like, oh, where did that recording go? Or if you missed it or something like that, this is basically whenever I get one of these, I go, okay, this is my Bible. And it tells me to start with a couple easy recipes. So I start with that while I learn the buttons, I learn the settings, I learn what's going on. And then I'm able to branch out from there. But this is just under the sauce setting and it tells you here, and then it gives you the idea for an Alfredo sauce. So it says it needs 2 cups of milk, and it'll tell you like in the first stage, because it's going to beep at me and tell me what I need. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go up. Okay, now the measuring mark starts at 3 cups, but we're going to measure that with our heart. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to just do 2 cups. Okay, and then it needs some salt. Let me grab Himalayan salt from over here with our grinder setting. Okay, now I'm going to tell you the recipe does not call for this, but you're going to want to put it in there. Okay, it doesn't call for some garlic, but you're going to want to close the garlic that go with it. I think it just adds a little bit to the sauce. And then of course you can add some different seasonings as well. Okay, I'm going to show you. This is my garlic peeler. Okay, this is my little garlic peeler. So what I'm going to do is it's just like a little silicone hole in here. Okay, if you've ever known, okay, this is a garlic bulb. This is like the whole thing. Okay, this is like the big kahuna. Okay, most recipes are going to say that they want a garlic clove. A clove is the inside part. Now you might go, Trina, of course I know that. I promise you I didn't know that when I started. And I promise you I've had people that when I do cooking shows and it calls for a couple cloves of garlic, they've got like 3 or 4 bulbs out there expecting me to use them all. I mean, I like garlic. We measure cheese and garlic and chocolate chips with our heart, right? Okay, but it's a lot of garlic. Okay. Also, I mean, this is not paper tip, but garlic is supposed to be stored in kind of like a little well-ventilated but dark place. I found this at a little pottery place and I just loved it. So that's where I keep my garlic. If you don't have anything that cute, using like a little terracotta pot and just putting it upside down, like keeping it in your pantry. Okay, so you just take the look. I've got one of my blenders in there. I'll have to move so you guys can see it a little bit more. Okay, so you just stick them in the peeler and then you roll it and they come out naked. Okay, so it's just a really great option, especially if you I don't know, arthritis or different things. I also have someone that told me that it's perfect. They a lot of like caramel for the holidays, and it unwraps all the little wrappers, especially when there's a lot of them in bulk. Makes a big difference. Okay, so see, they're just all coming out nice and naked. So that's a garlic peeler, and then we've got a nice little slicer that comes with it to be able to slice them really nice and evenly. Okay, so there's some garlic in there, and then what I'm going to do is it's just going to start cooking this milk. Okay, I'm going to go over to the sauce setting, and I'm going to hit the button, and it says 176 degrees. It is going to do what it needs to do. Oh. Did you you guys catch what I just did? It will start if this part is off, because this is intentionally off for when we need to do the add-in. So like I'm going to be adding in some butter and I'm going to be adding in some thickener. Okay, it will start with that, and it didn't splurge all over me, so that's good. Okay, we're pampered, not perfect, as we like to say. I just have cool tools. Doesn't mean I always use them perfectly, right? Okay, so let me cancel it again. Okay, so you want to make sure this part is on, but yes, what's great is this doesn't stop the cooking process if you're just trying to add a couple things throughout that, like some of our recipes calls for. Okay, so we're gonna go back again, and it's gonna do it to 176, and I'm gonna put this over to the side. Our Alfredo is just gonna cook. Now the question will be, are you guys gonna be able to hear me enough with what we've got going on? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and make another thing. And what you're gonna see, like you can probably hear that it has stopped a little bit. Because it actually stops and things. It takes the temperature and says, what is the temperature and where do we need it to be? That's one of the differences. Again, and if we're looking at other things across the board, wondering why maybe ours is better. It's actually got that thinking brain that's going to be helping you out a little bit. Okay, I'm going to change my name here again. Let me replace spotlight. Okay, my friends, because now I'm going to prep a few things for basil soup. When you sit there and think of soups are designed, I mean, they just scream, they're just asking for leftovers, right? Being able to do things that are freezer. It just is so much better to have a nice warm lunch and something that might be a little bit more healthy from scratch. I'm going to look in the chat here and make sure, can you guys hear me okay, even though I've got that blender going? Kind of over by the phone. Seeing a couple. Are we still good? Kathy, I can see your face. Are we? Oh, there we go. Sherry, can you hear me okay? A thumbs up or something so that I know. Okay. I just saw that. I always don't from.
I can't even hear the blender. So, I mean, I can hear you, but I can't hear the blender. So you're good.
Perfect. So the blender, what's funny is, I mean, it's not like, oh my word, that's so crazy loud, but it does make noise. I tell people, I go, that's the sound of me not cooking. Right? Like, it's gonna make some noise, but like, I don't want to be over there worried about that. So great, we'll get started on some tomato basil soup. So again, if you're going, Trina, I've never made homemade soup in my life. I'm just gonna go get the can of soup, and that's fine for me, my grilled cheese. It is fine, but again, if you have sensitivities, if you have a garden that is like abundant in tomatoes, and you're looking for things, that this is going to be a really great option. And all you need to do, okay, is you're just using in your lovely little Bible that we've got here, all these different recipes: beet soup, cauliflower soup, mushroom bisque soup, cheesy potato soup. Potato soup. We're making the tomato basil. The butternut squash is awesome. This fall I made a bunch of that and frozen it in little 1 cup servings. The broccoli cheddar is phenomenal. That one's really yummy. And it just starts off pretty good. Okay, but so we are going to have I've got some vegetable broth. Let me see if I can showcase that. Hold on. So I mean, you can use water for this as well. But I thought I would showcase a couple of things and give you another tip if you've never tried it. So what I do is when I'm cutting up different veggies, I'm giving myself a facial. Very good. Giving myself a facial. Okay. When I use different veggies, I just throw them in a freezer bag and stick them in the freezer cracks. Okay. And then when the bag gets full or a recipe calls for it, then you can go and you can make vegetable broth. I just put some water in here and I just let it boil and simmer for a while. You can make your own bone broth and things like that as well. But this is just such an easy way to get a little bit more flavor for things like your soups and stews. And it didn't cost me any extra money. So I know that especially with groceries rising and things like that, you don't want to have to pay another $1 for your soup, right? It's not like veggie broth is super expensive, but I already purchased this. I already paid for this. I want to make sure that I'm getting the use out of what that is. I've got a bowl. I don't know what's going to be the best way to, kind of push me. Here, I'll be over there so you guys can see one thing. Okay, but what I've got is this is actually our new Brilliance cookware. Do you see how it's got the little spouts? Ooh, the handle do get hot. We do have protectors for it. Okay, see how it's got that? I'm just going to go and strain it into the bowl over. I've got the batter bowl right here. I'm just gonna go strain it. You guys can see. Okay. Right, chicken or vegetable, okay? So being able to save any money with little scraps and things like that really does make a difference on your budget. So this is gonna ask for a quarter of water or veggie. So I'm gonna be able to use this and I'm just gonna freeze this in little 1 cup capacities. When I just realized, hold on, I borrowed blenders. I borrowed blenders, but I gotta make sure that I do that. They all up top some. Okay. So I'm gonna freeze my veggie broth in just like little 1 cup these so that those are all in it. Okay, ready? I'm gonna showcase this is our veggie wedger. It's been newly designed. So if you've not seen it in action or it's been a while, this just also calls for 2 Roma tomatoes. Roma tomatoes, ones that are like an egg, they're a little bit firmer. Okay. Oh, well, they're not firm if you drop them and all that, but okay. But these are like nicer slicing tomatoes if you're doing ones for like a pizza sticking or things like that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut these up. Honestly, I probably could have just done it. Could have just thrown the whole tomato in there, but I just feel like this is gonna be easier. Okay. So it calls for 2 Roma tomatoes, 1 can of whole tomatoes. Show you guys our can opener here. You see how it was just kind of hanging out. This is the smooth edge can opener. Okay. When it's hanging on the side like that, that's when you know it's in the right spot. And you're gonna go to town. And this is just a nice, safer way. You're not gonna get any of the nasty stuff from the top of when it's been sitting on your shelf or in the store into your food. And your can opener isn't gonna because none of the liquids or any of the nastiness is getting on there. Okay. And then it's got a nice edge. So also when you're like digging, you know, well, not that you're digging in the garbage, but when you're in the garbage, when you're pushing things down, we're just trying to keep those edges a little bit safe. Okay, so it wants the 1 can of the whole tomatoes. Okay, I just had this is what I had whole peeled tomatoes. Okay, it wants 2 garlic cloves. We're gonna do the same little game before. Although I feel like 2 is not enough. We'll see what happens there. Remember, I may say 2. That's their suggestion. That's their suggestions. I didn't roll it like I meant. I didn't roll it like I meant it. There he goes. That one's off. That one was just sticking. That one was a big as I think. He came out nice and clear. And then we also want half of an onion. I don't know if you guys saw, you're gonna get a little sneak peek at some new products too. Okay, so we actually redid our ceramic coating knives. They are back and they're better than ever and they're dishwashers. Gonna get a hallelujah, right? Okay. Well, I'm just gonna cut it. This one's half of an onion. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually keep as much of the root on it as I can if I'm just using half of an onion, because that will save the onion better for you when you're in the fridge. And then of course you do want to cover it up because onions will take on all of the stinks and all of the things in the fridge. Okay. Oh, I was gonna video of that, but I'm just gonna put that in. And I don't even like onions, but in recipes like this I do. Also, when you're thinking of different onions to get, okay, a white is gonna have a little bit more of a bite. A yellow onion is a little bit more of that soft flavor that you're looking for in something like a soup. And then a red onion is gonna be like your crunchy salad onion. So if you're going, okay, why are there different kinds of or red or okay, if you're wondering why are there different kinds. Okay, I'm looking at my recipe. Oh, I want some salt. It wants my salt. Okay. And then we're gonna do the same thing. I'm actually gonna put this one over here into another plug, so it's not quite as close by. But I'm just gonna hit the soup button and I'm gonna walk away. It's gonna beep at me, and then it's gonna encourage me to put in some fresh basil. I won't lie, it's in the middle of winter in Wisconsin. I've got some sweet basil rub that I'm gonna put in instead. Fresh is always best, but we use what we've got, right? Okay, so let me go get that started. You know what I love when I'm doing demonstrations, things like that, I'm gonna have so much good food for the week. I'm gonna have so much good food for the week. Okay, and then when I'm gonna get started in this last one, I'm gonna showcase for you guys. I'm gonna get started with some almond milk, and because it's gonna take a while for those to go, showcase them to a different spot. Okay. But again, if you're like Trina, almond milk sounds really complicated, because there's literally an alternative milk button that is going to do all the thinking for me. I would love to know, is there anybody in that uses the recipe for your feature isn't so cool? Is there anybody that uses alternative milks, either because they just enjoy them or because they need them? I'd love to see that in the chat. You know, it's got entries because some people are like, you know what, it's just healthier, it's just different. Dairy doesn't do well with me. But this has recipes for almond milk, cashew milk, coconut milk, combination milk, macadamia milk, oat milk, and rice milk. So it's going to walk you through everything that you need to do. Now, one of the first things you need to know about making alternative milk is that you do need to soak the nut that you're doing. Okay, so what I had sitting over here, okay, this morning, I got some cashews. I've got 1 cup of cashews, and you want them to be like the raw, unaltered, just a whole natural one. Okay. Sometimes, you know, so if you got like snacky roasted something or whatever ones, you're not going to want to make your milk with those. Okay, just being able to use the main flax milk. Okay. So being able to have that, and I just put 1 cup of unsalted raw almonds in 2 cups of water, and it's soaked for about 4 hours. Okay, and then you need blending water. You need about 5 cups of blending water. Okay, make sure it's been a while since this. Okay, soak the nuts, drain and rinse the food. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of these. For it. Okay, again, I'm gonna love that I've got our measuring mark on here, so I just need 5 cups. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. So I just got my 5 cups of blending water. And then it comes with, if you guys are gonna watch, I'm gonna show you guys towards the end after this is done. It comes with what we're gonna need to strain it out to get all the almond pulp in. And then you can actually use that for almond flour, which is pretty awesome. Okay, so there's some additional things that we're gonna add in, but I'm just gonna go ahead and put these almonds in. Okay, I'm gonna put the lid on. And I'm gonna put it on the alternative milk setting, and it's gonna do its thing. It's gonna run for about 5 minutes on the setting, and then it's ready to drink. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I've got my things cooking and going. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Sherry. She's gonna show us and talk to us a little bit about jam. So let me get you spotlighted here, Sherry. Replace spotlight. There go, we can see you. I'll mute myself.
Oh, there I am. I've never done this before. So anyway, so okay. On the alternate milk, on that almond milk, I only use almond milk just for smoothies. I drink whole milk, regular milk, but also at the end of it, if you'll add just a teeny tiny splash of vanilla, it makes it very good. But I will not ever buy almond milk again since I started making it in the blender. So anyway, guys, I love this cooking blender. I will say when I first got it, I was like, when I first received it, it's like, I have a blender, but I didn't use that blender. I started playing with this one and I use this blender. And one of the settings and one of the reasons I told her that I would do today is jam, because I like to can and things like that. And so I like to make jellies and stuff like that. So we're going to make some jam today because first off, we are out of jelly or jam, whatever you want to call it. And I had some blueberries in the refrigerator that needed to be used. So I am going to make blueberry jam today. Now, as Trina says, I like to pull out the little book, the little guidebook. And that's what I go by. And so we're just going to make some jam. Now, I can't remember who said they wanted to make raspberry jam, but it's the same thing for raspberry jam as it is for this blueberry jam. Okay. So let me get you guys turned around here into, I was trying to figure out the best way and how to show this in my kitchen today without you seeing all my clutter and everything. So, okay, so I've got it turned on. It's hollering lid at me because I don't have it all set up. So we're going to do this, and I'm doing it back. So we'll see how I do this here so y'all can see it the best. Okay, there we go. Now, to pull the lid off. Now, for the jam, it's so easy peasy, guys. Easy peasy, okay? We're doing blueberry jam. So all it calls for is a 1/4 cup of water. Already have that over here. There's the water. Then it calls for a pound of fresh blueberry. Now, I kind of don't measure by the heart like Trina does on some things. So, and thought, I don't know how much my blueberries will. I don't weigh. So, of course, I Googled it. And about a pound of blueberries or a pound of the raspberries is going to be 3 to 3.5. Well, I like to go over just to be sure. So I've got 3.5 cups of blueberries. We're going to now rinse these blueberries before I went to church, so they had a little bit of time to dry. Okay, water, blueberries, and then we're going to put a package of pectin in there. Sure deal. That's it, guys. Now, like I said, I like to can and all this and that, but this is awesome when I need something quick. I don't think I have bought jelly in a very long time. And when hubby said he needed some more jelly for the camper, I got to look at him. We were out. So this works perfectly. So we will put this in here. Just like that. Put your lid on. Fortunately, it doesn't work till you do. Now I'm going to turn to the jam setting. Yeah, and the temperature for the jam is 220. Now, before I turn this on, so it does not, I don't know if you hear mine like, well, we'll go ahead and turn it on. I'll try to talk over it. I talk loud anyway. So, but, let's see. Okay, there it goes. And it's just going to take its time and it's going to do. Now, when your jam is done, now, this one, though, when you do jam, it usually has add-ins. That's when you add your sugar, okay? So when it will beep at you and it will say add, and then you can take the little top off. But because of the messes that I make, I usually just take the whole lid off. It's not going to do anything to put it back on. I will say, because I have done the grape jelly before, and actually here's some of the grape jelly that I did. My grape did not set the way I did. I wanted it to. It's because you use grape juice. So I would suggest the amount of pectin they tell you to use in here, I suggest that you use more, whether an extra 1/2 tablespoon or a tablespoon more. But, and then also when you do your add-ins, if you want, just a little tip, do a squeeze of a 1/2 lemon or something in here, because lemon will help tighten it up and it'll help fight through that sweetness also and everything. But when this amount here will make about 2.5 half pints. So, because I do mine in half, so it makes about 2.5 of these. This amount does here. Yeah, and then if you're not a canner, you don't have to can it, because when it's done, pour it in your jars, put a lid on it, put it in the refrigerator, or let it cool a little bit, or you can put it in the freezer. It freezes up to 6 months. It says it keeps in the refrigerator. I can't remember how long, but usually it won't last that long. So, but I like to do double batches because I like to give food away. So if you're a canner, hot water bath, 5 to 10 minutes, go, set on the shelf. So anyway, that's it. That's it for jam. And I will do a couple of batches, but I will do it like this, and it will be, well, we'll do it. But I can walk away and go do other things because I'm always doing multiple things when I'm in the kitchen. So I like to do my jams in here and just run into the batch through when I'm done. Okay, I think that's it.
Love it. Okay, I went and hid in the great room for a second because 3 blenders going is loud.
Yes.
I wanted to come over and love it. And I love the tip on adding the lemon juice. I would have never thought of that. And I'm sure that does really brighten it up and the things, the tricks of the trade. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, thank you. Yeah, and then we'll see. That'll be going to town. Like I said, it just tells you when to add the things and we'll get going. Okay, let me find Miss Kathy and I'll spotlight her and she's going to showcase. I know that I happen to know that she used it a lot. So I was like, girl, what do you make a lot in it? She was like hummus. I'm like, oh, perfect. We need someone to showcase that. So let me get her spotlighted. Okay, there you go.
Okay, guys, can you hear me okay?
Yep, perfect.
Great. Okay, yes, I'm going to make hummus. That's one of the things. I use my blender almost every day. I do hummus, I do smoothies, I do peanut butter, and so much more. So anyway, but today we're going to make hummus. And it is super, super easy. And I love that when you're making it at home, you can put what you want in it. You know exactly what ingredients are going in it. So like when you go to the grocery store, I have bought grocery store hummus before, and it's got so many ingredients. It tastes good. But anyway, this way, you know exactly what's going in it, and it's so super easy to do. So it calls for, I'm just using the recipe that is in the Deluxe Cooking Blender recipe book. And so we're going to do 1 can of chickpeas. And I've already rinsed all the chickpeas, already rinsed everything. And then it calls for 1 can of Great Northern beans. And I will tell you, you know, I told you it's great because you can add whatever you want to in it. I do make changes to this. So I might add some roasted red peppers to it or some different spices, different things like that. So the next thing it says is lemon juice. Well, I'm a lime person, so I always use lime. So I am just going to squeeze some lime juice in. It calls for 2 tablespoons of juice. And I like to use fresh. I know you can, you know, buy it in the jar, but I usually like to use fresh. It always just seems to brighten it up a little bit. I should be using my juicer, shouldn't I? I didn't even think about grabbing it. Okay, there we go. Yum. Oh, it smells so good. I love limes. Okay, and then it calls for olive oil. I am using my garlic infused olive oil for this. I don't know if you guys have tried this or not. So, or it's really a canola oil, but I'm using the garlic infused oil today. And let's see. Next thing is, okay, sesame seeds. So I don't know if you guys know this, but tahini is ground sesame seeds. So I almost always have tahini in the house instead of sesame seeds. So we're using tahini today. You can definitely use either one, but tahini or sesame seeds is an ingredient that you will find in hummus. So we're going to do the tahini next. And I'll be honest, when I make this, I've made it so many times, I usually just sort of estimate and it just is. And it's always good. Okay. And then the next thing is, oh, I forgot to put the garlic in. So, and it's really, when you're using your blender, if it calls for garlic, you can just throw, like Trina was doing, you can just throw the garlic cloves in of that. And then it calls for a little bit of salt. Now, I am not a fan of salt. I very seldom use salt, but I am going to go ahead and put in a little bit of salt in here. And I'm using our sea salt, sea and Himalayan salt. So I'll put a little bit in there. That really goes a long way. And so at this point, you can add like any kind of spices or anything. Like sometimes I'll add red pepper flakes or cayenne or something like that to get a little extra, a little bit of extra flavor. I love our chipotle, so I'm going to actually put some chipotle in, give it a little bit of chipotle flavor. And I think that is it. I'm going to put my lid on. And so this is going to be on the grind setting. Let's sort of made a little mess here. A little bit. I'm going to put it on the grind setting and just let it go. And it'll be done. And the one thing about this is when you're making, I make peanut butter regularly too. And so it tells you if it sort of starts coming up the sides, then to tamper it a little bit. And so I usually have to tamper it a little bit when I'm making the peanut butter. So we're going to go ahead and set it to the grind setting. We'll let it go. I don't know if it's too loud for you to hear me or not, but it makes super smooth hummus. I love And I didn't actually let it go all the way because it's already super, super smooth. So I'm just going to hit cancel. It had about 15 seconds left on it. But I love that it has the lid with a hole in the top so you can just use your tamper or whatever you need to do. So here, let me just show it to you.
Hey, Kathy, did you say because it was burning?
No. I turned it off because it was ready.
Oh, okay. Well, got this blender running in my ear and I couldn't tell. So that's why I was asking.
No, that was good. I'm glad you asked that. And so I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's all ready to go. No, usually I don't have to run it for the whole cycle. It's like 2.5 minutes. And it's usually as smooth as it needs to be before that's even up. So I usually don't run it for the whole 2.5 minutes when I'm making it. And it's delicious. And that's it. And this will be my snacks for the week. I'll cut up some vegetables. I'll probably do some zucchini and cucumbers and use it for snacks for throughout the week. And it should last me a whole week, I think. I love the hummus though.
How much you snack, right? I love it.
Well,
Thank you so it isn't just so fun. There's also I actually got the ingredients, but I was like, we're not gonna have enough time to make that. But I was like, again, I'm excited to make the what is it called? The roasted
Roasted red pepper. Yes, the roasted red pepper. I'm looking at that now. It's like, okay, I'm going to be playing with the blender all day long. So,
yeah,
Kathy, I do have a question, Kathy, because I like garlic. So, I mean, an extra, because I kind of like garlicky hummus. So, an extra garlic in it would be fine and everything. Because I like garlic stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It totally would be. And the roasted red pepper, I've made that several times. It's really good. I think you'll like it.
Love it, love it. Well, it's so fun. Something that I love is just like she was mentioning is she was like, you know what, you can put whatever you want in it. If you have different sensitivities or things like that, being able to control your ingredients, I don't know, it just matters. And people know I'm not the healthiest person on the planet, but when I can make easy changes to things where it's easy to like, I have not bought, I'm going to show you guys peanut butter here in a minute. I have not bought store-bought peanut butter for years, like since the blender came out, because it's so easy and the ingredients are so simple. And Americans put sugar in everything. And I love me some sugar, but I don't need it in all of my food, right? So I'm going to show you guys, I started this and then I was like, okay, actually this is kind of cool to watch. So I stopped doing it so you guys could see it. But I've got the almond milk is done. So the blender just stopped. Like I said, it runs for about 5 minutes. And then what I actually have, if you guys because I realized I grabbed my big quick stir pitcher because I find my small one. The small one would have been fine for the size and the quantity that I've got. But I just have this around my measure all, like the outside cup, just for some stability in what I've got going on. And I'm just going to pour now the milk mixture through that, and it's going to catch all of the ground up, basically almond flour is what's going to be going on in here. And this bag comes with the blender, as does the tamper, like Kathy was sharing. Okay. And so just something that gives it a little bit more stability as you're pouring it through. Just a little bit easier to grab. Okay. And then we're just going to be squeezing all of the liquid through. So let me get all this all in here. Okay. And I've got this going on. Okay. And then if you have our air fryer, you have a dehydrator to be able to make your own almond flour. Because again, if you've got food sensitivity, groceries are expensive enough, let alone you need to go to a different section of the grocery store to get the things that you need for your family, right? So you're just able to squeeze all of that milk down here. Now I was laughing. There was this stupid picture that came up on the internet, and it was like a picture of like a very traditional looking, like Jesus going like this into the picture. What are they doing down there? And like the guy was like, oh, they're making milk from almonds. And he was like, oh, I gave them like 7 different animals to get milk from. He was like, what's happening down there? But it's so cool that we have the option and the technology to be able to make things that are going to help feed us in the way that we need our fuel, right? Okay, so I've got that all squeezed out. Okay, so now all of the the ground up almonds that you can make for flour are just right in there. Okay, so I'm going to put that to the side. But again, another way, just like the vegetable broth I was talking about, what a great way to not have to have extra waste, right? Okay. And then you can do different recipes. I think Sherry was talking about this one. I'll add some vanilla for sure, but it gives you options and suggestions of things to be able to add in. That's my Alfredo. Hold on, let me find my milk. But it tells you can put in some agave, vanilla, and salt. You can use honey or different alternatives, whatever you want to do to be able to sweeten. You do want to keep it in the fridge. And then it'll be used for about 2 weeks. Okay, to be able to have that depending on how much you're going to use. So I just thought I would showcase that. And then the quick stir pitchers are nice because after you have blended those ingredients, or whenever you're needing to stir them back up again, okay, the next time you're going to use them, that's going to already be built in. Okay, so now I'm going to showcase, and I did this on purpose because I'm just going to rinse this. I'm not going to worry too much about cleaning this part because I'm going to make peanut butter, and all that was in here was almonds and water, right? So again, I like using things in batch cooking for what we've got. Okay, guys, peanut butter is my favorite. Peanut butter is my favorite thing to do. Okay. I am in need of peanut butter. So I'm just actually like, this is just, and you can do, I've just got a thing of dry roasted nuts seasoned with salt. Okay, so you can choose whatever type of things you want. You can make almond butter, you can make cashew butter, you can make sunflower seed butter. Any of those nut butters, it's going to do the same exact thing, fraction of the price. You can buy your organic materials, no added sugar, nothing. Okay, it's just whatever you put in there. Okay, ready? Peanuts, that's all I'm going to do. It's a very complicated recipe. Okay. I'm chopping it in here a little bit. Okay, and then I am going to put this on grind. I'm really hoping, here's the question of the day. Do you think I'll do a fuse? Because I've got multiple of these going. Do you think? I was kind of impressed that I didn't before. Okay. But I'm just gonna go and turn this on. I'm gonna change it to grind. And what I really want you guys to be able to see is I really, again, think that this really showcases the power of our motor, because of how easily and well this does this. You ready? Leave it all in. Use the tamper. What's great about the tamper is it's designed to never have to worry about it hitting the blade. Okay, because it is specifically designed to not do that. It's just to push the food down to make sure that some of these thicker, hardier items are going to get down into the blade where they need to be. Oops, I jostled it a little too much. Keep going, little guy. I moved the blade, I moved the lid so it stopped. Also, I won't lie, a lot of times I put super veggies in my peanut butter. I really should put some in actually. I really should put some in because I think that that's gonna make it a little bit of a difference. Here, ready? Oops. I think my fuses are going a little bit crazy. Sorry guys, let's see if we can get that ticket going again. Wait for it. Oh, I think my fuses are wrong. Okay. Might have to finish that over here in a second. So hold on. I'm gonna let that hold off for a second. I try that in a different thing, but I'm gonna show you guys that my Alfredo is at the add spot. I don't know, can you see? So it's really flashing add for me because it's at the next stage. So what it wants is it's gonna want a few tablespoons of butter. It wants a few tablespoons of butter that I'm just gonna put right in here. And then it also calls for some flour. But here's a little secret. I actually use our pea protein. Do I have any of our? Okay, so this was like the super veggies I was talking about. Okay, our enrichables are the way. I use our pea protein. It's just yellow peas. That's the only ingredient that it is. But I use needing a thickener. Because especially like I'm sitting here thinking of my kids. I'm gonna add about a quarter there. I'm thinking of my kids and how they're gonna want the noodles and the Alfredo, but they're not gonna want the chicken. Okay, so me being able to put this in there is going to make a big difference in them getting some little bit of more protein in there. Okay, so I'm gonna have that in, and then the very last thing that the Alfredo has me do is it has me add in some cheese. Again, to thicken it and give it that really rich flavor. Okay, let me see if I can get this over here with my peanut butter. So hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna trade something out. Hold on. Yeah. See if this unplug over here would be happier. Oh, the people that built my house were kind of crazy, but one thing they did do well is kitchen elements. Like a lot of them. So we're gonna try that other one over there and see what happens here. Okay, go back to grind. Let's see if I can finish up my peanut butter. Because then I'm gonna make some mousse because we're not gonna have to clean our blender again.
Trina, I usually make my smoothies after I make my peanut butter. So I have peanut butter in my smoothies.
It's almost a really satisfying part. Also use the grind setting if you guys do your own coffee beans. You can make powdered sugar by just putting sugar in here and doing a few pulses.
Hey, Trina. Trina.
I think maybe she can't hear us because she has us muted, maybe, not sure.
Trina.
Okay, it is so smooth and rich. This is fantastic. I want you to think if you just made like a chocolate skillet cake and you're gonna pour it all over. I'm gonna pour this into a couple of jars. I do keep my peanut butter in the refrigerator just because it doesn't have any of the extra preservatives or anything that are happening with store-bought peanut butter. But do you see how beautifully it comes into the jars?
Hey, Trina. Trina,
Yes.
if you will, this thing's loud. If you'll flip me over real quick, I'll show them the steam coming out of the top of the jam, how it cooks.
Oh, yep. I'll fill these jars. Let me change over to. There you go.
All right. So while this is cooking, because it's still needing to get up to its temperature, let me see if I can flip you guys around. How do I do that on here? Me and there we go. Maybe. Flip. There we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, well, it's still cooking and it still hasn't reached its temperature or whatever. Guys, this is hot. And I don't know if you can, let me finish real quick. I don't know if you can see this, but you may not be able to see it because of my walls and stuff, but see that, there you go. See all that steam coming out of there? That is cooking and you can't really see it bubble. Hot. And it's hot. Can't really see it bubbling much in there because of the color that it is. So, but I just wanted to show you guys that. So, okay, you can flip back.
No, I love it. And I totally spilled peanut butter all over myself. So hold on, I got excited watching. Replace spotlight. I just like want a little snack. Apparently, I just kind of went down a little bit over there. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you. Because again, looking at this peanut butter, you're like, okay, well, how on earth am I gonna get that cleaned up? I'm gonna got my sound on here, right? Okay, yeah. So I was like, am I still muted? My beautiful jars of peanut butter. They're getting used up. I'm gonna make my own Uncrustables. They're gonna be so much less expensive and so much healthier for those. Okay. But I'm not gonna clean this under yet because I'm gonna show you one last thing. You ready for dessert, guys? Okay. So got some peanut butter in there. Got some heavy whipping cream. Okay. I'm gonna put about 4 cups of heavy whipping cream in there. Look for my markings that are covered by peanut butter. Okay. It's almost about a full thing of this. I've got a package of my, oh, hold on. I realized I need spotlighted my wrong guy, so hold on. There you go. Okay, now you can see me better. I was over here doing all this, but you guys didn't see me. Okay, I've got a package of instant pudding. And in about 10 seconds, I'm gonna have a wonderful mousse. The peanut butter cup mousse. You can do this with different flavors. You can do sugar-free if you needed. Okay.
So what'd you put in it? Just milk?
I've got heavy whipping cream.
Oh, okay.
The leftover peanut butter shenanigans. I've got peanut butter everywhere in case you guys are wondering. That's what's happening. Okay. I'm a messy cook for any of you guys who don't. My mom used to like wake up in the middle of the night. Sometimes she'd see me making cookies. And she would panic because I was so messy. I'm like, stop. You know how sometimes you wake up in the morning, there's just cookies? Never the mess, just don't worry about it. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put this on pulse. And I'm just gonna pulse it for a little bit. Because you can custom blend, you can custom pulse whatever you want.
I'm a, yeah. I'm a firm believer, the messy, my food tastes better the messy I am than if I'm clean when I'm cooking in the kitchen, so.
I mean, I feel like there's just like a little love that's added in that, right? You see it's already all puffy, so I'm just gonna mix that down a little bit. Do a couple more pulses. Two. Custom blend 6 for a minute. Okay, my friend. Okay, and now I've got this delicious looking. Make it up. So if you're thinking like a quick dessert, something that's a little bit easier, again, that you can control the ingredients of, you can see all this thick mousse. You can make just whipped cream in this. Make your little parfaits, all the things. Okay, my friends, I got my soup over here is done. Super creamy, thick tomato soup. You could add, I'm gonna add some pea protein in here as well. Do a few of that to add some protein to a little bit more veggie based item. Get you to be quiet for here for a moment. I'm gonna switch back over to this view, my friends, I think. And then we'll finish up here. Okay. That is it. We just wanted to showcase all the different things. I would love to see if there was something that you learned that you would use for the coffee beans. You would use grind for coffee beans. Yep, and I think it gives a suggestion that if you're doing that, and use pulse them as thick as you want them. Like if you're using cold brew, you might want them a little bit coarse, right? Depending on what you were wanting for those. I'm so inspired. Can't wait to make them. Yeah. Like you saw, I mean, obviously you're probably not doing all of these things at once, right? But think about it is to batch cook or to just spend an afternoon making all these things. You can have your almond milk, set for the week for your smoothies. You can have your hummus made for your quick and easy snack. Chop up your veggies while it's cooking, right? Because you don't have to monitor it. Okay. Get some soup, put those in the freezer. Use those for some quick and easy lunch and dinners. Like this really can add so much value to what you guys have. So whether you have one or you don't have one, hopefully it inspired you even to just make a couple things or to be a little bit more conscious with your ingredients. Now, I did want to make sure that you knew that for the month of February, the cooking blender is actually on sale, as is, I think I went and grabbed some of the pieces. We didn't make a smoothie today. I did want to showcase the blender attachment. So basically we decided, you know what, we needed the blender and the attachment today. You're gonna basically, it's kind of like getting the attachment for free because of how much money you're getting with it. So what the attachment does is you just put this on the base of your blender. It's got its own little spot here. So you put all your ingredients in the cup, okay? And then you're putting this in. And then you stick that in there and you hit the smoothie button and it's do all the blending. And then it's awesome because then you take that off and then you put this on and then you okay, so it's a really nice option. So even if you're like, hey, you know what, I need another cup, all the things, this is a really great month to be able to get it. But the blender is $70 off just to start. And of course, you would want to contact your consultant with any other specials or things they have. But I also want to recommend, I mean, this is normally a pretty high price item. You can actually host in the month of February, just collecting $200 worth of sales. Okay, you have one more friend that decided they needed a blender, boom, you're now getting yours for $139 and some change. Okay, so it's a really great option because you can stack your host discounts on anything else that's on sale. Our mail processor is also on sale. And like I said, you can get the smoothie attachment. It's $20. So if you saw any items that you're like, you know what, I really need that or some of those things, you're just gonna want to make sure that you reach out to your consultant to see how they can help you the best way. I'm also gonna make sure anybody that did RSVP, I'm using Table, you're gonna want to go in and check out there. There are gonna be some resources there, but I'm gonna make sure that I send you the digital version of our Deluxe Cooking Blender Guide. Okay, you're gonna have access to that digitally. I'll get that sent to you so you can do some of the recipes and the things that we have. I hope you found this really valuable. I hope it was fun. This is, your consultant can offer these, our team offers these. If you live close to your consultant, go do an in-person cooking workshop or in-person thing. We don't necessarily make all of the things that we saw today, right? But tell them you want some chocolate mousse and some soup. You're going to have a wine, cheese, and chocolate event. So I just wanted to connect you with you guys that way. Thank you so much for showing up. I hope you were able to benefit and had some fun, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Bye.